We've just completed another week in Westminster and another calamitous mess presided over by Messrs Starmer and Co. The week started off with more bank closures, particularly those of Santander, who are shutting their banks down in weekly lots as they move us ever closer away from the high street and away from physical cash. Then we had the shocking news that was hidden behind a super court injunction for more than 3 years that documents leaked by the MOD exposed over 18,000 Afghans, leaving them at risk to the Taliban. So we've let thousands of Afghans into the UK due to our own inept handling of another crisis at a cost of many hundreds of millions of pounds. Next, we had Rachel Reeves' Mansion House speech, patting herself on the back as she told us that Britain had never had it so good, just a day before the reality kicked in that our economy had flatlined, as city economists were baffled how inflation was still on the increase in the UK and jobs have fallen through the floor. Keir Starmer, her partner in crime, was humiliated when JLR, Jaguar Land Rover, announced it was cutting 500 jobs. This, the same Jaguar Land Rover Starmer had stood in front of and told us that his trade deal with the US had saved those very same jobs at Jaguar Land Rover. He said, "Last month I promised workers at Jaguar Land Rover that I would protect their jobs. I kept that promise." So this month, I wonder what Starmer will be saying to those at JLR who are now under threat of redundancy. And talking of redundancy, dozens of companies are getting rid of large numbers in their workforces, no longer able to balance the books with the increases in NIC contributions, and many more paralysed in fear about whether they should recruit. Therefore, the job market has not only stagnated. Officially, unemployment has increased to 4.7% in the 3 months to May, but I believe it is a lot worse than they are telling us. We had a 41-gun salute for Camilla, who apparently celebrated her 78th birthday this week and is the wife of King Charles III. We also had another visit from another jumped-up suit from the EU, this time a fellow who calls himself Chancellor Merz of Germany. He started ranting on about how angry he is with us for wanting Brexit, but didn't let on that he and the rest of his EU mafia refused to give us a proper Brexit, having us jump through rings and hoops for more than 4 years, and then shafting us with only a limited and partial Brexit. Merz also waffled on with his buddy Starmer about migrants and smashing the gangs, but is very happy for them to keep tipping up on British shores and doesn't think there is anything more needed to stop this issue. And of course, Labour tried to sneak in lowering the voting age from 18 years of age down to 16 because they thought that the potential of 9.5 million young people added to the electorate would win them the next general election, as they were bound to be left-leaning snowflakes. However, they didn't bank on Nigel Farage and his Reform UK party being very active on social media and grabbing the TikTok generation. So those plans of Labour to harness the youth could well backfire. Good. Finally, but most importantly, it seems that once again Britain has been ushered back into the EU fold, and not only that, yes, you guessed it, we are also going to have to pay for it as well. Nothing ever changes with Britain and the EU. They are always squeezing money out of us, and we are always so foolish to willingly give it to those charlatans. Britain will be made to pay into the European Union's budget as the price for Sir Keir Starmer's reset deal. EU documents demand Britain to pay financial contributions to the bodies that manage food standards and carbon market rules, and that Britain will be blocked from making any changes or amendments to these rules, and that will make the UK an EU rule taker and not an EU rule maker. The documents added that the United Kingdom should contribute financially to supporting the relevant costs associated with the union's work in these policy areas. Starmer bleated that he is willing to dynamically align with EU rules, including electricity generation, industrial heat generation, domestic and international maritime transport, and domestic and international aviation, to gain access to the EU's carbon market. We are slowly but surely being sucked back into the EU and being forced to pay for this dubious privilege also. And to round things off, Keir Starmer has refused the whip to 5 Labour MPs, including Diane Abbott, for not towing the party line. And that was the week in Westminster.